I'm Nick Altmeyer with linkinglewiscounty.com. We're here this evening at the Lowville Elks Lodge where the 4th annual First Responders Dinner is taking place. The dinner honors first responders from around Lewis County, the ambulance crews, volunteer firefighters, and other emergency responders. Each is provided with a free dinner for themselves and a significant other, and an award ceremony is held. Following are the awards that were given out this evening.
I'd like to say good evening, great to see everybody. Another wonderful year. This is year 4 of the banquet we've been doing here. Any of you that don't know me, my name is Ray Falk. I'm a loyal knight here in the lodge, 25-year member of Beaver Falls Fire Department. However, this building that you're in takes up a lot of my time, like 1,500 hours a year at least.
I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, probably not. That's probably a little light.
I don't think he counted right.
Yeah, probably not. On the tables, you'll see a sheet, just a summary of what we had for last year. 200 people, 14 departments. Just something for you to look at. We got a great program for you tonight. We got the split decision in the house again. This is a setup. I don't know if they're going to play all night or just a couple of songs for us. You guys just starting, are you? Or a little open mic night, or what do you think? High school band I found up for.
Are you ready to drink about that?
Yeah, if you stick around long enough, I may hear that too. This is all made possible through fundraising that we do all winter long. Pork barbecues, some of you have been to it. I know Search and Rescue's been down quite a bit to get some stuff. The committee, myself, Troy Clark, he's the biggest help I got. That guy does just about anything you need and then some. He helps me with the barbecues. He's out in the kitchen right now cooking our meal. That's why he put me up here all by myself. But that's not a big deal either. Louis Figueroa, PER Jim Chartrand, ER Zach, First Lady Shannon, Lecture Night Bob Lanier.
Yay!
Our chaplain's not here, Morgan Roberts, members at large, Jim Burns, Jesse Fargo, Jared Spalding. They all have a hand in helping me with the barbecues and doing the fundraising. Yeah, I lost my place. I got too many words, the font's too small. But I know I'm forgetting some people to thank, but thanks to everybody that's helped out with it. I couldn't do this without all of you guys too being here and supporting this. And of course my wife Holly, she's sitting out there and she really likes the elks though because it keeps me out of her hair.
Yay, Holly! See what Holly does to you, Ray?
I wrote this up this morning and I didn't have the program from last year, so I just kind of threw things together and I think I got, yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, we're done. All right, we're almost there. We're like 150 words away now. I hope everybody enjoys tonight. We got beef tips and chicken garlic pasta and mashed potatoes, a couple of vegetables. Open bar is going to start after the meal.
Yay!
Yay. It's good to see you. I'm glad we didn't get the wind we had last night tonight because this will be a pretty ghostly place right now. A lot of you guys put in a lot of time last night into the morning. Some people got banged up a little bit, bruised up, thrown around. But you're all valuable people to the county and the people in the county.
And Fort Drum.
Oh yeah, and Fort Drum, sorry. Fort Drum in the house. We're going to start off with some awards, followed by our guest speaker. And I asked Bob if he could burn up 20 or 30 minutes. He said, sure. I said, just 20 or 30. So now I'll turn the mic over to God himself, Mr. Bob McKenzie.
Well, I can assure you that I'm far from God. In fact, I got to feel God's wrath last night. He beat me up a little bit. Myself and our chaplain, he was watching over me as well. We had an unfortunate run into the tree, but first of all, before we get started, I do want to just talk about last night a little bit. We had almost every agency in the county out at one time. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to the dispatch center up there. There are 2 dispatchers working at one time. That's it. They did actually call in a supervisor. She came in and she actually was working on the phones. And they absolutely killed it last night. They did an outstanding job. I was sitting in my truck, and at one point in time, I started counting the cabs that were open. That a cab is a call. There was 57 calls open at one time.
Lost the mic.
Lost the mic.
It'll come back.
No, what I said was there was 57 calls open at one time. That's remarkable in and of itself. So I just would like to give a round of applause. So anyway, so we requested early on to put forth your members that have 50 years of service with the fire service, so we could forward it to State Fire and FASME as well. And some of you chose to do that at your own banquet, and I strongly support that, I really do. And so we did have 2 submissions that should be noted this year. We had Gerald Snyder from Copenhagen Fire, 50 years. And we had Ed Sinclair from Lyons Falls Fire Department, 50 years, former fire. So if your agencies have people that are coming up on that threshold, I strongly encourage you to move those forward to us, because we really do. Those people should be recognized. They really should. Because anybody who's dedicated that much time to the fire service really does deserve recognition. And I also would add that their families really deserve the recognition, because the families are the ones that stay home when we go on the calls. They're the ones that suffer the stress. They're the ones that have to deal with us when we don't have such a good call. And without the support of our families, we could never do this job. So all of us in the room that are firefighters and EMS, give a round of applause to your spouse, please. So, this is also our opportunity to do the EMS Awards. And for this year, we're going to start with Youth Provider of the Year. We had a submission this year, which there's a basic life support provider, advanced life support provider, Agency of the Year, Youth Provider, Harriet C. Weber EMS Leadership Award, EMS Educator of Excellence, EMS Communication Specialist, EMS in Quality and Safety, Registered Professional Nurse of Excellence, Physician of Excellence, and Commissioner's Health Award of Excellence. We never, not as far as I can remember, and I was the EMS Council chair for years, I can never remember getting a submission for every one of those before. Unfortunately, we couldn't pull that off again this year, but next year, let's really try to do that. Because
Stand by.
it's a magic touch. Because seriously, there really are some outstanding providers out there in the field, and there are some people doing some great things out there. The other thing I asked for as well is from the fire agencies is to bring forth some good stories and I'm not talking feel-good stories, I'm talking some really good calls you had during the year, and I would encourage the chiefs to bring that forward. Just put it on paper. I'll gladly stand up here and read it. You know, I like to bend everybody's ear. So with that said, our first award was for the Youth Provider of the Year, put up by Lewis County Search and Rescue, and this is for Ian Murphy. Ian was one of the first members of Lewis County Search and Rescue Junior Program. Ian has a definite passion for EMS. He's currently enrolled in the EMT Basic course. He's an energetic junior member that has drive and passion for the agency. He's always willing to commit to shifts and help train new juniors. Ian has responded to several major incidents during his career as a junior member, and he has by far been the biggest drive for this business. Ian will make an amazing paramedic. Ian is currently set to join the Navy when he graduates high school. Ian will not only go far in his military and EMS career, but in life in general. Ian will be an amazing leader one day. So, 2017 Youth Provider of the Year, Ian Murphy.
Couldn't make it. It's not me. I swear. You're facially
So, next award is the Harriet C. Weber EMS Leadership Award for Lewis County. And that, we had a submission for Rebecca Turk. Rebecca began working at LSR in late 2013. She began as our billing clerk. She was quiet and always stayed to herself. As she continued to work with us, she got more intrigued on the provider side of things. She later became the office manager and oversees the billing department and assists with the operations as needed. She's currently enrolled in the basic EMT class. Becky's always willing to help out other staff at LSR. She unselfishly puts herself last all the time. Her door is always open, and she always takes time out of her day to talk with the staff, no matter how busy she may be. The staff, both paid and volunteer at LSR, look up to her and have the utmost respect for Becky. She's like everyone's mother at work. She does care about every single person that's a part of and assists with day-to-day operations. She did it without even being asked or that being expected of her. She's guided crews and answered solved problems as they arose. She never once thought of herself or was too busy for the crews. Most leaders in EMS provide some kind. Becky's pursuing her EMT, and being someone who's not certified at any level of EMS, she's able to direct day-to-day operations and assist crews with issues that may arise. And by far the most difficult thing, and Becky does it flawlessly. Becky has a major impact on the EMS community, and she's willing to come and help out whenever possible. Becky's an amazing EMT, and she has a passion for helping her community and fellow workers. She's made enormous impacts on the EMS community of Lewis County. She makes sure our billing policies are in place and followed, as well as takes care of our employees' benefits. She's an amazing leader without actually being a provider. Harriet C. Weber EMS Leadership Award, Rebecca Turk. That's looking good. All right, our next award is for Advanced Life Support Provider of the Year. He was put up by Lewis County Search and Rescue once again, and this is for Chris Weeks. Chris began his EMS career like most do. That was driving. He later became an EMT basic. Many years after becoming an EMT basic, he decided to attend the JCC paramedic program. Chris is currently in an EMT CC, which is critical care, and is enrolled in the paramedic program at Herkimer County Community College. On October 11th, 2017, LSR was dispatched to a laceration call. Upon dispatch, it was unclear as to exactly what happened. Upon arrival, Pat O'Connell and EMT CC, Chris Weeks, found a male patient with an arterial bleed from the thigh. Without the quick action of EMT O'Connell placing a tourniquet while EMT CC, Chris Weeks, addressed the ALS needs of the patient, they quickly packaged the patient and transported him to the ER. The patient was stabilized and then airlifted to SUNY Upstate. The patient is alive and well today. and is grateful and thanks for the quick response of EMT O'Connell and EMTCC weeks. Chris's impact on the EMS community is very strong, and he will continue to grow his passion. His passion for helping people is tremendous. Chris has excelled at the EMT level and will excel at the paramedic level. I also see Chris one day leading an EMS agency. Advanced Life Support Provider 2017, Chris Weeks, who cannot attend because he's attending his own banquet tonight. Sounded better with him this time.
Hey, are you really Chris?
But I'm O'Connell, so that's all good.
So we actually had a few submissions for Basic Life Support Provider of the Year. And I think it would be a great disservice if I didn't at least read the nominations for the other providers. And I'm pretty darn proud to say that the basic EMTs in Lewis County are some of the smartest and some of the best decision makers out there. With ALS care not always being available, they can quickly pull the trigger and make a life and death decision as far as air medical, etc. And they do an outstanding job. Basic EMTs are basically the building blocks of EMS, and they should all be recognized. Our first submission is for came from Beaver Falls, and this is for Bob Bowman, Basic Life Support Provider of the Year. This is a nomination. Bob was a member of Beaver Falls Fire Department for many years. Because of his work and commitment, he decided to join our honorary ranks in 2016. He decided to run actively in the roles in 2017 and renew his EMT card. By taking the local EMT course at Lewis County Search and Rescue, he completed the course and passed the exam. I'm nominating Bob for this award because of his dedication to the profession of emergency medical technicians. Before Bob joined the department, they could mostly respond to nighttime calls because the EMTs worked out of town. Since Bob has got a certification, the department has only missed one call so far in 2018, and from June 2017, the department has only missed 5 calls. Bob is excellent in patient care and meets the patient's needs, and he always introduces himself by saying, "Hi, I'm Bob Bowman. How can we help you today?" His bedside manner is professional and courteous. He has the uncanny ability to put the patients and the family at ease. And has the uncanny... Just get rid of those, all right? I'm trying to look underneath and she's not working out. No, I feel great. Bob is always prepared for whatever the emergency requires, whether it's just a lift assist call or a code call. He does what he can within his level to assist in patient care. Bob's job requires him to work from home, thereby making him valuable when the department's short of EMTs. He's made great impact on the department's EMS and has great respect from the other EMTs in the department. He's always willing to assist department members, teaching them about the ambulance as far as where things are located. He's also coordinating with that works amazing, by the way. He's also coordinating with the Lewis County Mental Health and the Lewis County Suicide Prevention Consortium to bring suicide prevention program to dozens of our district. And anyone else that would like to attend. Bob is an all-around people person. As chairman of the Board of Commissioners, I'm very proud to nominate Bob Bowman in his well-deserved award. So that's our first. The next one is from J.S. Koster Hose Company, also known as Sportlight. This is for Cody Cabron, and this is another submission for BLS Provider of the Year. The organization feels that Cody deserves to be nominated for BLS Provider because of his ethical character, and he desires to provide the best patient care he can no matter the situation. He's a very compassionate provider and treats each one of the patients as though they're the most important person in their time of need, regardless of the patient's experiencing an MI or with a hangnail. Cody's a valuable resource both clinically and knowledgeably in the EMS community. He works well with other care providers and hospital staff. It is the organization's opinion that anybody who's had the privilege to work with Cody would agree with this statement. Cody continues to improve his skills, knowledge of emergency medicine. He's always enthusiastic to learn and discover more techniques and knowledge, as well as to share and explain the ones that he's already gained and experienced himself. Although perhaps he's considered a greenhorn in EMS, he shows great qualities of being a natural leader and has excellent communication skills, always remains focused on the task at hand, as well as making sure that the providers and crews always remain safe. He has an aggressive treatment style that shows that he's confident with his treatments and has a firm grasp of patient care and outcome. Cody is a top-notch provider and can be found offering a helping hand to other agencies throughout the area. Although he's young, Cody has great qualities as a provider as much as the EMS community in the future years ahead. So that's our second submission. And I have two for the same gentleman from the same agency for two different calls for EMT Basic. And this is for Pat O'Connell. Pat began his EMS career as driver in 2012. He found it to be his passion and later became an EMT. Patrick is currently volunteers with Indian River Ambulance Service and is employed by Lewis County Search and Rescue. Patrick is currently enrolled in the paramedic program at Herkimer County Community College. He's currently tasked with overseeing Lewis County Search and Rescue's junior program. July 31st, 2017. LSR and Cronin Fire Department were dispatched to a logging accident in the town of Cronin. Upon dispatch, it was advised it would be difficult to assess the patient. On arrival, EMT Pat O'Connell and driver Dottie Suter proceeded to the patient. Upon reaching the patient, O'Connell quickly recognized the need for a tourniquet as he had an arterial bleed. He requested aeromedical transport to the trauma center. With the help of Cronin Fire Department and Sergeant Knight, EMT O'Connell was able to extricate the patient. EMT O'Connell was also able to stabilize the patient until they could intercept with ALS and then be transported the patient to a waiting helicopter. The patient was airlifted to SUNY upstate. The patient did lose his leg. However, the quick thinking and the actions of EMT O'Connell, the patient is alive and well today. Without his actions, EMT O'Connell, the outcome for this patient could have been much worse. That's the first one for him. Now the second one for Pat. October 17th, 2011. LSR was dispatched to a laceration call. Upon dispatch, it was unclear as to what had happened. Must be getting some warm or something. Upon arrival, EMT Pat O'Connell and EMT Chris Weeks found a male patient with the arterial bleed from his thigh. Without the quick action of EMT O'Connell's place tourniquet and EMT Weeks' ALS assessed the patient. This is the exact same one that I just read for Chris Weeks as well. So I won't continue with the story. But I will say that it would appear that Patrick O'Connell has made some significant contributions to the EMS community as a basic EMT. And for that, we recognize Pat O'Connell as 2017 Basic Life Support Provider of the Year.
That's really him. That's really him.
Not Chris Weeks.
Next category we have is EMS Agency of the Year. Our first submission was for Beaver Falls Fire Department. The history of Beaver Falls Ambulance is not unlike any other small-town volunteer agency in northern New York. What makes this particular agency so unique is the way they've met adversity and rose to the occasion. It would have been simple to shut down the ambulance operations and rely on a larger fee-based service that are available. Although a little bit further away, instead the decision was made to bolster resources and continue providing emergency medical services as they have done since 1964. Basically, the decision was made to continue providing the service to the community that our neighbors have grown up with and can appreciate over the years. The citizens of Beaver Falls, Town of Croton, and New Brigham have come to rely on their hometown ambulance to provide reliable and affordable services. During the course of the past year, patients and families have repeatedly expressed their happiness for the service they receive from Beaver Falls Ambulance, and they're grateful to the department's leadership, and they decided to continue with their ambulance service. Beaver Falls Ambulance has been an integral part of the community for over 50 years. That's the first submission. Second submission was for Lions Falls Ambulance for EMS Agency of the Year. This came from a dispatcher from the 911 center. I've been dispatching for a total of 13 years. In that time, I've been honored to work with some of the members of Lions Falls Ambulance. When I come into work and see they're in service, I know that the southern Lewis County is in good hands. The men and women that volunteer for that agency are always pleasant to deal with. Their professionalism is something that agencies should strive for. And the final submission is for Lewis County Search and Rescue for EMS Agency of the Year. Lewis County Search and Rescue began as an EMS agency in 1973. LSR has always been forward-thinking, motivated agency, always putting training first and foremost. LSR has merged services with Croton Fire Department ambulances 3 years ago. LSR has also obtained a CON to serve the entire county. LSR also was approved as an ambulance transfusion service to allow blood to be transported to the hospital. By the way, that's a big deal for those of you who didn't understand that. Lewis County Search and Rescue provides EMS training for the entire county. LSR responded to over 2,000 emergency and non-emergency calls in 2017. With the decrease of volunteers and an increased need for services, LSR has always come to continue to support our neighboring agencies. The growth of the agency over the past 4 years is incredible. LSR continues to value our volunteer staff while being fortunate to offset that with some paid staff. We have a very good working relationship with our paid and volunteer staff. And that's one of the major reasons we have succeeded like we have. Lewis County Search and Rescue's contribution to the EMS community in Lewis County is large. With daytime coverage lacking throughout most of the county, LSR is able to help out by providing 2 or 3 staff crews during the day along with 2 staff crews at night. LSR will always be here and willing to help our neighbors no matter what the need. 2017 EMS Agency of the Year, Lewis County Search and Rescue.
Is that you?
Ish, yeah.
The next award is going to be for EMS Communications Specialist of the Year. And we have 1, 2, 3 submissions for that. I promise you, they're not as long as they seem. And like I said, everyone should be recognized for these nominations. I think it's a wonderful thing they've done. And this is, the first one is for EMS Communications Specialist of the Year, Alice Morgan. Alice is a former EMD certified and a 911 dispatcher. Date of the incident is 10/11/17. Alice received a call from a 68-year-old male who had accidentally stabbed himself in the thigh with a hunting knife. The male reported heavy bleeding and felt he was going to pass out. Alice gave bleeding control instructions and kept the man talking alert until EMS crews arrived. The knife had struck several vessels. Due to Alice's instruction, the man recovered with few problems. Dispatch is the first step in most emergencies, and oftentimes instruction like this they give to preserve life functions until EMS arrives. So that's the first one. Next one is for Debbie Lawrence, EMS Communications Specialist of the Year. Former EMT, EMD certified, and dispatcher. Date of the incident is 6/3/17. Debbie received a call from a distraught female who was transporting her unresponsive 16-year-old to the hospital. The 16-year-old was intoxicated and had his eyes open but was not responding to the caller. Debbie maintained contact with the female caller, reassuring her and calming her down enough to prevent the accident while driving towards the hospital. The ambulance was able to intercept with the vehicle and the son received treatment. Once again, as a dispatcher, they are the first step in most emergencies. In this case, the dispatcher prevented the second emergency by being able to calm the mother enough to drive appropriately. The dispatcher at the end of the phone is often a lifesaver. And the last one, Denise Krieger, Communications Specialist of the Year. She's a BLS provider, as well as EMD certified, and a dispatcher as well. On August 28, 2017, at 8:20 a.m., while dispatching for the Lewis County Sheriff's Office, Dispatcher Krieger took an emergency 911 call for a 50-year-old male, not conscious, not breathing. While Dispatcher Krieger gave the caller instructions on CPR, he remained on the phone with the caller until emergency services could arrive to respond. The victim did survive and was later determined to be a cardiac event. The backside of this incident is that the caller was the victim's 15-year-old daughter. The professionalism that was demonstrated by Dispatcher Krieger was outstanding. She was able to remain calm and also keep the caller calm and focused while giving the victim CPR and ensuring other services were contacted and dispatched. Her ability to determine the seriousness of the situation by nothing more than a phone call and remain calm and focused surely helped saving that individual's life. For 2017 EMS Communications Specialist of the Year, and also this, as well as for Lewis County, this also got moved forward to the North Country Regional EMS Council for submission as well, and she actually won for the region. That's Jefferson, St. Lawrence, and Lewis counties. This will be forwarded once again to the state to be a regional submission for communications specialist. So there's a very good chance that that our area could actually win that. So for 2017, Denise Krieger. One thing that really should be noted about, and Denise even alluded to this as well, dispatchers, they work as a group, they work as a team, and they actually function as a team. And they do some outstanding work behind the scenes. Oftentimes they're not recognized. And that's why I felt I wanted to bring that forward when I first started talking about last night's storm. They really do a great job out there. They keep us safe. They're that calm, quiet voice in the night that just is checking on us to make sure, hey, are you okay? And also get us to the scene to give us proper directions, even though we may not be so nice sometimes. So, once again, let's give the dispatchers in the room. Thank you. So in the previous award, I had mentioned that there was that she won for the region, which is Lewis, Jefferson, and St. Lawrence counties. There was another regional winner from Lewis County as well, which will be submitted to the state. And although he's not here, and although I do not have an award to give to him, I thought it would be remiss if I didn't at least mention this. Jim Devers won the Harriet C. Weber EMS Leadership Award. Jim has served in EMS for 50-plus years. At the age of 15, Jim began volunteering with West End Volunteer Ambulance Squad in Richmond, Virginia in 1967. By the way, that's 2 years before I was born. Jim began working for Richmond Ambulance Authority as an EMT and advanced EMT in 1980. Jim moved to Lewis County and began volunteering with Lewis County Search and Rescue. In December of 1981, he assumed the director position where he remained for the next 29 years, retiring in 2009. Jim brought a wealth of knowledge and experience coming from a fast-paced, high-volume EMS system. Jim has worked with Dr. John Herman, Mike Ditta, Gary Engel to develop the MET protocols. In 2006, Jim became a part-time paramedic, working his way to Director of Training of Guilfoyle Ambulance until his second retirement in 2017. Jim has been an EMS educator for over 30 years, teaching hundreds of EMTs in the North Country region. In 1981, Jim taught the first intermediate IV EOA class in the region. In 1984, Jim helped teach the first 8 EMT levels, 1, 2, and 3, in the North Country Mercy Hospital in Watertown. Also in 1984, Jim became an instructor for the farm medic class. Jim would travel all over the state to do this rural first responders class on how to rescue and treat victims of farming accidents. He's been a CIC, CLI, and regional faculty since 1988. Jim has also served on the CNY, North Country, REMAC, and REMSCO, and SEMSCO, which is the local EMS advisory board and the state EMS advisory board. In 1984, Jim was part of the first Medical Control Audit Evaluation Committee, now known as REMAC. From 1982 until 1992, and then from 2006 to 2009, Jim was the alternate representative on the SEMSCO, Mark Knowles and Debbie Foltz, respectively, from 1992 to 2000, and from 2009 to 2017. He was the SEMSCO representative for our region. Jim's had an EMS career that spans 5 decades, covering 2 states, Virginia and New York. He served his community in many different capacities and has been a volunteer, paid director, paramedic, educator, mentor, agency, and community leader. Jim's cared for countless patients, ranging from the very minor to the critically ill or injured. He's also educated hundreds of EMS in the North Country regional level. Jim's contribution to EMS as a profession and a system are too many to count. On the regional level, he's been involved in creating policies and procedures and protocols that has directly affected thousands of lives. On the state level, Jim has represented the North Country region with prestige and honor. In May 2013, Guilfoyle's president, Charmaine Wright, passed away, leaving the biggest ambulance company in the North Country in the hands of inexperienced 30-year-old paramedic to lead. And while it says it in the statement, I wouldn't necessarily agree with it. I do think that there was some good leadership there. Jim provided guidance and mentor to President Bruce G. Wright for 4 years. Jim was already retired as a leader of an EMS company that understood he was not obligated to take on another project, but he stepped up to be a mentor to the new generation. Jim was a beacon of light. If there was some dark times in a company, he helped to continue to provide service to residents throughout the North Country. With over 120 employees and a CME program needing to be attended to, Jim stepped up as the Director of Training and Education for that company. As a role, Jim taught EMS, CPR, and first aid, other AHA classes to local providers, businesses, students, and Jim would work tirelessly to ensure that Guilfoyle's provider had the education and guidance to continue practice EMS. Even if it meant that he had to duck, dodge, deer, or brave a blizzard on his way home 30 miles in Watertown. He was highly reliable and relentless in making sure others were taken care of before his own well-being. Jim has always wanted to leave things better than when he found them, and I can truly say that Jim has done that for New York State and the North Country region. So that's, Jim was submitted as the Harriet C. Weber EMS Leadership Award, and I think that everyone in here should give him a round of applause. He's done an awesome job. So I'm going to give the mic back to Ray. I'm sure you're sick of hearing him now. And thank you very much for your attendance. I hope that you will get us some really good submissions for next year, and I really look forward to doing this again next year. Thanks.
Borrow your glasses, Bob. Thanks, Bob.
I got cheese in the bottom.
Wow. I'm going to have our exalted ruler of 2018-2019, Zach Kerfing, come up and say a few words.
It'll be short, I promise. First off, I want to thank Ray for chairing this First Responders Committee. He's done a great job. I'd also like to thank Joe Bowser and Troy Clark for being on that committee with him. I'd also like to thank Stu Reich and his lovely wife Nancy for traveling all the way from Ogdensburg. Stu's going to speak for us tonight. And finally, I want to thank all of you for attending. I heard the fire whistle go off several times last night here in Lowville, and I can just imagine that it was like that all over the county. Big storm, a lot of stuff going on, and I just want to say how much I personally appreciate all the work you guys do to keep us safe here in Lewis County. So here's to you guys. Great job. And with that being said, I hope you guys, once we get to the speaker, I hope you guys enjoy your meal. We got a great band, and I hope you guys have a great time tonight. So I'm going to turn it back over to Ray, who's going to introduce our speaker. Thank you.
Okay, where was I? Get those glasses? Yeah. No, I know I can't see out of yours. Our guest speaker tonight, his name is Stuart Reich. He was initiated in the Ogdensburg Elks Lodge in 1997. He proceeded through the chairs and was elected exalted ruler in 2008. Stuart served on many committees, including the House Committee, Hoop Shoot, Indoctrination, Membership, and ENF. In case some of you don't know, we do a lot of scholarships, a lot of you can serve on as many committees as you want. It's a lot of volunteering going on here. He also served 7 years as Lodge trustee, which he continues to this day. Let's see, 2013-15, Stuart served as the New York State Elks Association State Chairman for the Elks National Foundation, and then continued to serve as the State Association as the Chairman for Business Practices, which he continues to serve to this date as well. This year, let's see, where's that stuff on here still? That's not on here. Oh, here it is. Stu is, this year is going to be our New York State Elks Association New York State President, which is a very prestigious title to have on your little name tag here. I don't have any of those yet, but that's okay. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Stu Reich as our speaker.
Mic gives out, I'm just going to push it to the side and I'll just talk loud enough for everybody to hear me. So, thank you, Ray and the Lowville Elks Lodge, for inviting me to be here on this special occasion, but also for hosting such an important and deserving event. As first responders, you are not only the first to arrive at the scene, but you are more importantly the first to set aside your own safety and well-being to selflessly help others in need. We're gathered here tonight for you to recognize some of the individuals amongst you who have gone above and beyond this past year, but also for the rest of us to reward and thank you for your service and dedication. You put yourself in harm's way on a daily basis to protect and to serve your neighbors in your communities, and for that we're all truly grateful. Whether you're a law enforcement officer, a firefighter, or EMT, you put the needs, the safety, and the well-being of others before your own. You instinctively respond to a crisis in a way that is much different than many others. It is a typical behavior to steer clear of danger and avoid it at all costs. You as first responders charge towards the dangers, setting your fears aside to aid those in duress. When heading to your shift, you never know what lies ahead. Will this be a day that you clean your vehicles, help someone find your lost pet, complete your endless paperwork and reports? Or will this be a day that you see an unimaginable accident? Will you risk your life to save another that's trapped in a fire or being held hostage? Or deal with a lunatic or a medical emergency? Whatever the call, you are the front line. You are the heroes and saviors that those people in peril and distress rely on, and will forever remember your bravery and your service to your community. The world is changing. Never before have we seen so much hate and destruction in our homeland. Whether it originates from a drug-induced thug, a citizen with a mental health illness, or from a third world country, you as first responders have never missed a beat. Whatever the danger, whatever the call to service, you answer, and you have our back. And I'm happy to say that the 123 lodges and 60,000 elks across New York State will have yours as well. We as Elks recognize the importance of serving our community, as do you. Many of the faces I see here tonight as first responders, I also see as Elks. Rest assured, our long history together, helping one another, will continue far into the future. On behalf of the entire New York State Elks Association, I thank you for your service, your dedication, and your bravery. And congratulations to all the award winners tonight. May God bless all of you in the year to come. Thank you.
All right, before we serve dinner, I get everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Lanier.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can stay standing. I got Bill Leggett here who's going to do our invocation for prayer.
Father, we all come before you. Just want to thank you and praise you for the dedication of all these firemen and firewomen and EMS and police officers, Father. Father, I think of each and every night when that tone goes out, Father, that you give us safety and allow us to stand for everybody out here to give them the peace they need, that know we're out here for them. I just want to thank you and praise you and ask you to bless this food red body now. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, your food will be out here shortly. We'll, let's see, I think Glenfield wants to go last, I think they said.